Modern day slavery. December 2nd is the United Nations International Day for the Abolition of Slavery. Did you know that slavery still exists today and is probably much closer to you than you realize? Blood on Earth. In this book, Blood on Earth, Kevin Bales speaks with Ibrahim, a 23-year-old slave who has worked in a gold mine since he was 9. He is dying. His lungs are filled with liquid caused by the dust and bacteria in the mine. As their conversation ends, Ibrahim turns to Kevin Bales and says, I want to be remembered. When my story is written and your book is ready, will you send me a copy? I want to show it to others, to show them that I'm not completely useless. I just want to show that something good can come out of my life. So, what's the connection to you? As you read this article, you probably you're probably using a smartphone, tablet, or laptop. Each device requires minerals, including gold. Perhaps the gold in your electronic device was mined by slaves. Slavery today. According to the Global Slavery Index 2018, over 40 million people are victims of modern slavery, and of these, 15 million are in forced marriage. Slavery involves violence, physical or psychological, and control, often in the forms of threats in order to generate profit. To quote Kevin Bales, slavery is when one person controls another, uses violence to maintain that control, and exploits them economically. This violence may be physical and or psychological, and the control may be verbal threats, but at the heart of slavery is exploitation and ownership of another human being for profit. Forms of modern slavery include forced labor, human trafficking, commercial sexual exploitation, domestic servitude, and forced marriage. You might be surprised to see forced marriage include above. Sadly, forced marriage involves the same lack of choice, power imbalance, coercion, and labor exploitation as other forms of slavery. This also includes forced child marriage, usually of girls of 17 years or younger. Slavery behind closed doors. Another form of slavery is domestic servitude. Across the globe, domestic workers, mostly women, migrate abroad to support their families back home. Employment agents in their country of origin promise a generous salary and good working conditions with a caring host family. This, however, may be far from reality. Domestic workers are sometimes forced to work long hours and their passports are and mobile phones are taken away. In extreme cases, behind closed doors of private homes, they are locked up, starved, deprived of sleep, and often physically and sexually abused. They are trapped, scared, and unfamiliar with their new surroundings. Domestic servitude happens globally, including in the United Kingdom. The power of consumer choice. Every item that we buy has a backstory, from electronics to textiles, from handmade carpets to coffee, tea, and chocolate. Each of these products might include child or adult slavery. Consider a product as innocent as chocolate. While the chocolate bar itself may have been produced in your country, the cocoa in the chocolate probably came from West Africa, where 60% of the world's cocoa is produced. As you read this, thousands of children and adults live in slave-like conditions on cocoa farms. Unknowingly, you purchase might support slavery. However, consumer demand for ethical sourced products and services can send a powerful message to producers. Imagine if we all refuse to purchase goods that have a backstory of slavery. Company sales and therefore profits would fall. Look around at items in your home and workplace and ask yourself the simple question: where did this come from and who made it? Why didn't I learn about modern slavery at school? Did you ever learn about modern slavery at school? History lessons may have included the horrific practice of slavery. However, it was probably considered something that was very much in the past. But slavery still exists and, and it is the everyday reality of millions of people. It takes brave It takes brave educators to raise awareness of the difficult, upsetting, and invisible reality of modern slavery. The good, the good news is that thousands of individuals and anti-slavery organizations are taking action. One such, one such organization is the NO Project, which focuses specifically on the education of young adults. Youth are the next generation of corporate leaders, policymakers, and consumers, say the founder of the NO Project. How we choose to spend our money says a lot about who we are. So the question is, who are we? And remember, another time, in another place, the enslaved human beings could be you.